Hello, this is Mark Summers from Summers Technical Services. We're going to do a lab project, Lab 4, for our MFGE 3316 class. This is the final result that you'll do, and I've got a handout with the dimensions and things. So let's get started. So I'll say File New, and you want to give it a file name, correct file name when we save it. I've got the grid turned on, and there's my origin. Some things about navigating. If you right click, you can ask for isometric views or top views, side views. We're going to be working from the top, and we're going to build that shape perpendicular to the z-axis. You can see the little indicator down here. Red is X to the right, Y is up, Z is coming out at me. So we're going to build this on the Z equals 0 plane. And I can know them building on that plane. If I go to the planes button down here, it says I'm on the top plane, so I'm good to go. So let's build some geometry. So we'll build the geometry under wireframe, and I'll start off with my rectangular shape, and you'll take you time to learn where all the buttons are, and sometimes it's kind of clunky, but we'll work through it together. I'll find a rectangular button somewhere. And if I use the pull down next to it, I can get different types of polygons here. So I'm just going to do rectangle, and it's giving me some options here. So I can say the width, height, and the width. Looks like it's 3 by 3, and that's good. Options here, I can either position first corner or second corner, or I can anchor it to the center. Well, I know I want it to be centered based on the handout. Origin's right in the middle, so I'll anchor to center, and it just says select a position for the center. And so I'll just type in 0, 0, enter. And it's asking me for the width and the height. And so if I type in 3 here and 3 here, and I can lock these numbers so that the next time I do a rectangle, it'll keep those numbers. So 3 by 3, there it is right there. And when I get what I want, I'll just hit the green checkbox. The blue checkbox is approve that and then do another rectangle, but since this is the only rectangle I want to do, I'll hit the green box there. And you want to pay attention to these prompts and options down here, but that looks like what I want there. So I've got my first rectangle. Now I need to put these circles on these arcs, and so I need to draw some circles to locate the center points of those holes we're going to drill. And so it looks like I'll start the arc right here that comes down to the origin. I need an arc here. And so I'll draw a circle, and I'm going to make that circle according to the handout is 1 1/4 radius. And you'll notice it updates the diameter. Those are locked, so the next time I make one, it's going to be that same selection. I'm going to do a manual, and I'm going to select the center point. So I say reselect, and I want the center of the circle to be up, so it goes right there. So I don't click there because I want it to be exactly up 1 1/4 inches. So I'm going to type in the center point 0, 1.25, and if I hit the green checkbox, I'm good to go. So the center of that circle is up 1 1/4, and so this is the first piece of the arc here. I want to go down to here, and then I want to go down here. So I need another circle down here, so I'll say circle, manual, still want a 1 1/4, I think. Yeah, I'm looking at the handout. So 1 1/4, I'm going to say select the center point, and I want to type in 0, minus 1.25. When I hit enter, it'll put it in there temporarily, and if I approve it, I'll hit the green check box and say OK. So now I want to have holes here and then down to here on those arcs. And so while I'm doing circles, let's draw some more circles. And I'm going to draw the one down here, and then we'll pause. Circle center point. I want to change that radius. The one at the bottom is, what is it? It's 1/2 inch radius. 0.5, enter. And now it's ready for a 0.5 radius circle. And I'm going to say select the center point. And this one's going to be over to the left 0.5. So that's negative 0.5. And you can see it popping into the dialog box up here. Negative 0.5, and it goes negative 0.5 also. So if I hit enter, there it is right there. I approve it, so I hit green checkbox. And I need another one up here. I'll let you draw that one. And that'll be the 4 arcs we need. So now I'm going to trim these circles back. So I need a line here so I can trim this circle back, and I need a line here to trim the circles back to. So this is all construction geometry. I'm going to go line, and I've got lots of options. I'll just do freeform, 2 endpoints, and I'll say the endpoint starting at 1, specify the first endpoint. I'm going to type in negative 1.25. Saying freeform tangent. Oh, I want to do horizontal. And I'm going to say I want to do a length. You can type these in or not type them in. So the length's going to be 1 1/4. And specify the endpoint. I'm going to say the endpoint needs to be right here. So it's going to be 0, 1.25. That gets me to there, and then I'll just drag it over here. I set it on horizontal, so I want to get it horizontal. I'll just click there and say OK. Well, that's too long. I need to trim it, and so we're going to use this dynamic trim button, I think is what I want. You select the thing you want to trim and the part of the thing you want to trim that's going to stay, and then select the thing that you want to trim it to. So I'll say dynamic trim. I want to trim this line, and I want to keep this part as opposed to keeping this part. So I'll click here, and then I'll click the circle, and it trims it back. And now I can trim this circle back, and I want to put it in another vertical line here, or another line. So I'm going to do line segments. I'll say vertical, and I'll say let's specify the first endpoint, and I want to type in 0, 0. Specify the first endpoint. Specify the first endpoint 0, 0. That's going to be right here. So enter, and it knows I want a vertical line, so I can either grab that line and have it stop there. If you get close, you can see I'm on the endpoint there. So if I select right there, see the little indicator, it tells you that's the endpoint of the line. And now I have a line that goes up to that endpoint, and I'll approve it. So now I want this curve right here to be left, and so I want to trim. Where is it? Dynamic trim. I want to trim this piece. I want to keep this piece, so I select that, trim it to there, select that, trim it to there, and then I'm good to go. So I'll do the same thing down here, trim that one a similar way, and this one here I'm going to trim. I just want this little piece right here, so I'm going to draw a line, and I'll do a freeform. I'll do a horizontal line. Well, let me pick the quadrant point here. I think it might. There's that point right there. And then does it let me pick that quadrant? No, it doesn't. And so I'll just click longer. The OK. Now trim that one back. Dynamic trim. I want to trim this and keep this and trim it back to here. So I'll select this piece, trim it to there. Boom, I got it. Now I'm going to trim this circle back to just leave this arc here. And so I'll say dynamic trim. I want to keep this part, trim it to here. Keep this part, trim it to here. There we go. So that's trim that. Now I've got this, I'm going to approve it. And I need to save this thing. File, save as. And you're going to browse, and you're going to find your Texas State University, 3316. This is Mastercam. I got a folder called Mastercam, and here's my file name. So I've already made that one, so I'm going to call this one something different. You'll call yours regular naming format. All right. So now I'm going to draw a few of these circles and let you figure out the rest of them. So let's say I want to draw the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 circles on this arc. I need to divide this up into equal segments, and I need 1, 2, 3, 4 equal segments. So if I go to, where's the button? divide. Is that it? Nope. Where is it? Here it is. Break two pieces. Well, I don't want to break it into two pieces. I want to break it into 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. So I use the pull down, and it says break many. All right, that seems like maybe it's it. And so finding these commands is just going to take a little time before you get used to where there are. So modified or break two pieces. I use the pull down. Chose many entities to break. I want to break this guy, and then say in selection. That's the only thing I want to select. So I selected it. I could select multiple things, but I want to select that one arc in selection. And now it says how many number you want to equally break it into, and I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. Enter, and sure enough, it's going to break this up into 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. That gives me a place to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes. So I'll approve that. And now I've got my endpoints where I can put those circles. So those circles are, what are they? 3/16. So I'll go to circle, manual, select the center point. Oh, I got to give it a radius or diameter. Let's give it a 0.1875. And those are locked, so the next time I do it, I can have that same diameter. And so now I'm going to select the points. Center point, I need one there, and I want to make sure I select that. See, it turns blue right there, and it gives me an indication that's the end point of that line. I want one there. I want one there. And it keeps popping them in blue. I haven't approved it yet. There's 3. There's 4. And there's 5. And now I'm done. I'm going to approve that. Boom. There they are. And at this point, I don't need this circle, and I don't need these lines anymore. I've done what I've needed to do with it, so I can delete those. So I can just select them. Delete. Select. Delete. Some tips about panning around. If you hold your, I think it's shift button, hold down the shift button and hold your middle mouse down, you can drag things around to get it where you want it. I can zoom in with my mouse wheel, and you can always right click and get your isometric view if you want to look at that. And you can see that triad down here. So I'm going to do another right click, top view, hold down my shift button and drag it around. So it's a little different than SolidWorks, but you get used to it. So I'll let you figure out the rest of them. You'll have the circles as per the handout. And when you get all done, you can go back here to home. So go to home, and you can do, well, you can do two things. You can go to drafting, and you can put in a dimension just to check visually to see that you got the right number. So there's 3, and there's 3 there. And if I want to know how far it is from here to here, that tells me it's, what does that say? 906. Oh, I didn't pick the center there. I got the wrong data point there. So I want to put another dimension in. I want to go to the center of this point. I wasn't paying that close attention. See, I hover over that. I got to move up to until it highlights that blue center right there. So I want to go from there to there. There we go. That's the 1 inch. And does that match what the drawing says? It's a 1/2 inch radius arc, and so that should be 1 inch. So you can check it that way. And we don't need those on the final submittal. You're just going to have geometry. Another way you can do it is go to, so that was under drafting. We were working under wireframe to draw our stuff, and we'll be learning about these other tabs as we get further along. If you go home, you can punch this button over here that says Analyze Entity, or you can analyze distance. There's a lot of buttons up here, and let's try Analyze Entity, and I'll select that circle. And it tells me the location of the center, 0, in X, -0.5, in Y, everything will be Z0 because we're working on the Z plane of 0. There's the diameter, there's the radius, diameter. You can get your information about the geometry built. So you always want to check that you did it right. And so you can check some of your geometry, because that's what I'm going to be checking for. When we do these Mastercam models, CAD models, if you don't have the dimensions that matches the part, you're going to fabricate the part that's going to be the wrong size, and that's a bummer. So make sure you triple check your CAD data. before you save it. And so I'm going to do a file save one more time. You'll submit this one file. Their .emcam is the extension. E is educational version. So these versions you cannot use in a commercial version of Mastercam. And then MCAM just means Mastercam. So those will be the files you'll submitting via email to turn in your assignment. So that's about 15 minutes to get you started. This lab will be our first Mastercam lab. We'll be doing lots more of them on a regular basis. So if you have any questions, talk to me in class, or you can visit me during office hours. Otherwise, we will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.